We are live.
Live. That's so easy.
It says we're live.
Got the little thing and everything.
Um,
I was gonna share that.
so now does it automatically record?
Yes. I think it automatically saves the broadcast.
Okay.
I'm pretty
Because we would have to record if we wanted to do just audio only. We would be able to record audio only.
We could each have Audacity open and record our own audio if we needed to, but
I don't really want to. If it's lost forever, feels like that's
yeah.
It's in Twitch's hands now. It's in this duck's hands. This StreamYard duck has the fate of our podcast in its hands. I love this duck. This little duck.
I like it. No, it's rad.
With headphones on. Yeah, that's true. We can just rip the audio from Twitch if it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It'll at least be saved there. So
yeah,
that should be fine.
Well, cool. How do we sound? Everybody, hello.
Everybody, hello.
Can you hear us?
Oh, hey.
I know Mike can hear us because he's in my headphones.
Ooh, that's fun.
Right? Oh man. Yeah. I guess, do you have Twitch up?
Nope, but I can.
Gotcha. We have 3 people watching, and 2 of them are me and Mike. So
yay!
Hey, Kilted.
I should watch. I should watch that thing I'm on.
What's up?
You're muted. Ah. Yeah. Hey, that's not bad. That looks good. All right. So I shared us on Facebook. Yes. All right. So I'm going to close that.
Hey, anyone out there with the credentials to Almost Daily Discourse's social media, go ahead and give us a shout on Twitter. Tony P, you got that login?
I bet he's napping.
He might be.
Because he's like, I'm just chilling today. I was like, oh.
What a life, right?
Be off right now.
What's up, Stealth King? The ladies of ADD. The ladies not of ADD. The ladies of the chat of ADD, I guess. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, you know what we can do?
Audio is weird.
Like that? Y'all like that? Show starts at 8 p.m.
Look at you. I love it.
Yeah. Tony was gracious enough to take us through StreamYard the other day. And look at all the things we learned.
I know. Hi, B-Mel.
Hey.
Right. All right. So Chris says, I want to return.
Chris Wisdom, what's up? Audio is weird on Facebook.
I was gonna say weird. How is it lagging or? I realize there's also not a lot I know that I can do to fix it. So.
That's kind of what I was thinking as well. I was like, well, that sucks.
I'm playing audio over the top. Oh, weird.
Tracks are making we're playing audio.
I'm trying to think of anybody. Female or Stealth, are you guys getting any? I know you're on Twitch. Are you getting any weird auto loops? Hey, Stealth, that's not a bad idea, and we are going to save that for later.
Shakespeare drawing. Yes, I'm going to read improvised quotes, or I guess read and improvised are not the same. That's not a thing. I'm going to read quotes. And then Swan is going to draw them.
Yes, I'm here for that. And also possibly interpret them for me, because there are times where I would listen to a sentence in Shakespeare and be like, I don't actually know what any of that meant.
Yeah.
What are you? It's like he's trying to speak to me.
So when I do shows and stuff or scenes or whatever I'm doing, sometimes if they're, because I like the more obscure shows which don't have like published No Fear editions, so people will be like, you got to help me out, so I'll do like my own No Fear versions of them, which are far spicier than the published
Oh, I
No
love
Fear.
it.
They're a little looser, a little more wild, and a lot different.
I'm here for it. I am 100% here for it. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah. It's a lot of like, if I could like video interpret, like video translate or like modernize, I think that would be more my style, because it's a lot of this. It's a lot of like, yeah, and then he's like, ah, which is hard to put in like a Google Doc comment section.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the gravitas, and like hand gestures are really hard to type out.
My favorite is when I will just write kiss his fingers in Italian. That's an Anthony Reid special.
Oh, I love it. I love that so much.
It tells you everything you need to know.
Yes, Stealth King. I like it.
Yeah, that's okay. I think that's okay, because as long as we're getting some entertainment value out of it, I think that's the goal. Tony, it sounds like this is exactly what the world wanted, even if it's not what the world gets every week on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. on Twitch. So Chris, here is Emily, do you have the Facebook video running?
I don't. I shared it on mine. Chris, are you watching it on the ADD page, or are you watching it on the link that I shared? I'm just wondering if my link is maybe being weird.
Because I know I've made that mistake before when I'm streaming shows, if I have my volume on.
So it's on my phone, and my phone is muted, so it should, and I ended up closing it. So yeah.
We'll see if that fixes it. Hopefully it does, because I just closed Facebook out entirely. But let us know if that fixes it, Chris, and hopefully we can get that sorted. Yeah. Unless Tony P has any tech wisdom. Tony? Oh, I have to click the comments off to make them go away. Yeah. So it sounds like it's looping our audio, so it's playing live and then also replaying with a 20-second delay or so.
But only on Facebook, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like Twitch is fine, which is impressive because Twitch was being squirrely earlier.
Squirrely?
Except
yeah, Wisdom, you hop over on Twitch and things should be perfect. All right, Emily, it's 8 o'clock.
Well, let's do this thing. We don't have a cool countdown video yet. So do you want us to just sit here in like 10 seconds of weird silence and just stare at them?
Well, so the ADD boys never let 10 seconds of silence go by.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm going to give it 2 and then I'm going to go.
Heck yeah, let's do it. Should we clap for an audio marker for Charles so he knows when to?
Yes. All right, you clap, then I'll wait. Okay.
Fuck you, Charles.
And go. All right, so hi, Trash Pandas. Welcome. It's Monday. It's not Wednesday at all, but here we are. And we even have a different logo up over here. What? So, as you may have guessed, because we're obnoxious on social media, this is something new and totally different. Yay!
Woo!
So hi, welcome everyone to In Addition, the sister podcast to the Almost Daily Discourse. So Steph and I felt like we had some extra commentary that we weren't getting through in chat, and we took the reins, and shockingly, they gave us the login keys. So here we are recording our own extra episodes in the ADD umbrella of
The
media.
ADD universe.
The ADD universe. Yeah, this is going to expand, guys. Like, heads up.
We're going to get a show on Disney Plus soon.
Ooh, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
I think we probably have to swear a little bit less for that.
Well, with our eyes, we can get a lot across without any words.
Yes, I like the ADD EU. And that's not just the European contingent. That's But then we're gonna have to figure out like what stays in canon and what becomes legend, and it's gonna be a whole thing. So I figure probably around March, we'll go back and revamp the whole thing.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, I like it. So for those of you who might not know us, as we're a bunch of the way in, this seems about right. Hey, let's introduce ourselves. So if you are not already familiar with myself, I am Emily, also known as a swan named Emily, across the internet and constant contributor to the ADD chat. And with me here is the lovely Stephanie.
It's me, Stephanie. I am at Kruggles all across the world, and I am really excited to be doing this. Apparently, me yelling from across the room into Mike's microphone on Wednesday nights wasn't enough of me. So, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome, universe. Really. So this is kind of exciting. And I'll admit, I know we have kind of teased this on and off a little bit coming into it, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of backstory as to, at least in the start, of why we got into ADD. So I'll start. I know for me, I've kind of been following along with the GSTU Media Network and everything since I met the wonderful, insane people of the GSTU Media Network 2019 Dragon Con. Also, when I met Mike and Steph and all of Adventure Incorporated and a whole ton of people, which was awesome. So from what I remember, most of the things I remember are really good. So since then, like as they launched this and pitched this, I liked the kind of conversation that was happening. And especially I liked the conversation, not only the topics, but the way that they were interacting with chat. And like I said early on, like there were some of these where I was like, oh, I have more to say on this subject. And I have a mic and I have a camera and I know people. And then I pitched it to Steph and I was like, hey, how would you feel about doing this?
I said, I feel great about it.
Awesome. And the big thing I think is really, really cool, and this is going to get, I'll just say, a little bit more serious for just a quick second, in true ADD fashion, in that I was very impressed with the not only encouraging community, but very safe place to have an open discourse. And for any of you who spent any time on the internet, you know that that's not always the case. And so the fact that this was not only a fun platform to listen to four knuckleheads talk about all sorts of things, but also a fun way to just have a good discourse. And so in an effort to kind of really highlight the fact that this is a nice place to have a discourse, but also the fact that this is a safe space for female viewers and female commenters. And I think that is a really, really important thing that is sometimes lost right now.
Yeah, and especially, just kind of pulling their show up on Twitch, which we encourage you, if you're not watching live right now, if you're listening, jump in the conversations on Monday, every other Monday night now, first and third Mondays with us, but also every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on Twitch TV, twitch.tv pod, because there are some amazing conversations happening in those chats, and like Swan and I have gone back and forth with a lot of the people on those chats, and there's so much to say, and it is a safe space, which looking at four dudes, you never really know if that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, no, and it's really the case, and it's one of those where it's certainly not, I'm not going to say they're pulling any of their punches, but they're also actually encouraging the good part of having a conversation. And even though anytime the talk of candy or pretty much any food substitute comes up, it becomes a very heated debate, I will say it's mostly a very happy and nice place.
Yeah, I mean, he who is Steve makes a good point. He is asking why we're not yelling at each other yet.
That's true.
I imagine there will be slightly less yelling.
Yeah. I mean, I am
But
gonna
I
work on my Charles, and that's a very guttural yell. Like that comes from deep in my diaphragm. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that because I feel like if this podcast needs anything, it's more in
Charles.
imitations of the rock god.
I'm Charles McFall, and this is my dog, Bear McFall.
Yeah, I think that's the main recurring guest we're really gonna try and get is Bear McFall because he's the star.
Oh gosh, I would sit here with a dog on screen for an hour.
Yeah.
Just watching a dog sit there. Like that's what we should do for streaming is just put animals on the stream and then just let them go. People would watch the heck out of that, I think.
I would watch the heck out of it. And I love it if you have the closed caption on and it barks and it just pops up for Bear McFall and it says barks in Southern accent. Oh, the Hero and Bear show. Yes.
Yeah. The Hero and Bear. Yeah. Honestly, that would be so cute. I don't even know what Charles's dog looks like. Do we know what Bear McFall looks like?
No, I have absolutely no idea. I have imagine a picture in my head, but I'm positive it's incorrect.
It's just a bear, like the Brave, the little boys in Brave when they turn into little bears.
Yes, but I imagine it's like one of the little like poodle dogs that's got the big curly hair, but it's shaved down to like resemble a bear, and it's got this really big bark, but it's just this tiny little thing. I love it.
That's canon now. That exists.
Yeah, for all of our lore librarians, make sure you note that down.
Jot that, put that in the wiki.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. And hey, in true ADD fashion, we've gone completely off topic. So I love it. Like it's like we never left the chat.
That's what we're here for, to provide the true experience. But yeah, we're excited to bring we'll be talking about some of their topics, some of the either more divisive or just more, interesting to us topics that we've been in the chat. Swan and I will keep talking after their show ends, and some of those topics are ones that we'll bring onto here, and some of our own topics as well.
Yeah, and I would say it's open to you guys. I appreciate the fact that the chat sends in questions or topics that they'd like to see the guys discuss, and that works for us too. If you have things you'd like to get our perspective on, go for it, because I'm always excited for that. But yeah, we definitely cherry picked some of them. If I'm going to have any other really divisive topics, I'm definitely going to wait and drop those into the ADD one because I like to watch it burn. So it's really fun. Fire. That's what it does.
Drop a stick of dynamite into those boys and see what happens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't need much. It's kind of nice. Like, there's no additional accelerant. It's literally just like the little match. And I'm like, okay, go.
Right? And some of the more surprising ones too, like talk about college. And then all of a sudden we're, an hour later and everyone's mad.
Yeah, I think that was honestly the most fascinating one for me because the conversation after we went off stream ended up going for like an hour later and we continued on and it got very heated, but it was fascinating. And hey, everybody's still here. They're still standing.
That is true. Everyone is still here. So Emily, let's talk a little bit about ourselves and what we do and kind of where we're coming from, podcast stream world, and what we're bringing here, what we're looking forward to.
Excellent. So at least for me, I am relatively new to the streaming world. I'll say I didn't really get into this until after Dragon Con last year. And my kind of big push ended up happening once the world shut down and I was looking for other ways to connect with my art students. So I don't teach regular school, but I teach at an art center, and I was trying to find a way to have people still be able to get some art lessons with me and maybe do that. And that kind of then morphed into, I actually kind of like streaming and I like doing this and this is fun. And in a very selfish way, it forces me to sit down and focus on art for 3 hours, but at the same time, not just feel like I'm alone in my apartment doing that. I get some fun people to chat with. And that in itself has then led into a whole bunch of other things, which is really, really exciting. So,
yeah. Well, I cannot recommend Emily's usually Friday afternoon streams enough because I cannot draw. I just do not have the skill for it, but it's so relaxing and peaceful and calming to watch her draw. And then, you look away for a second and then you look back and all of a sudden there's this like beautiful thing in front of you. You're like, it's a kind of magic to me, the way that you like just put a line and then put a color and then it's a picture. And I know that that's the foundation of art. But
that's nice to hear. I appreciate it.
Blows my mind. It is sorcery. It's actual sorcery. But yeah, you should definitely check out her streams at A Swan Named Emily.
Yeah. And if you guys are interested, there is, so like she said, usually on Friday afternoons is me. Luckily, there's another stream going this week on Wednesday. It's the Doodle Crew, which is myself and a whole bunch of other artists who were crazy enough to be like, yeah, let's draw live on stream. So we're going to be live again on Wednesday. So you're going to see a lot of me this week, but I'm all right with it.
Nice.
It is. So what about you? I mean, Steph, you've done a lot of this for a lot longer than I have. So,
yes and no, I guess. So I've been, the world of podcasting was opened up to me when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons with Adventure Incorporated. My friends said, hey, do you want to play D&D? It's going to be a podcast. And I said, I don't know what either of those things mean. I don't know what a D&D is. And, like I had heard of it, but I just imagined, I can't eat Doritos and I can't drink Mountain Dew and I don't have my mom's basement easily accessible to me. And that was all I had known, right? Were those like classic 80s stereotypes. And then I started playing and was immediately hooked because it's the best. It's improv, it's acting, it's writing, it's creativity, it's storytelling, especially the way Anthony, our DM, does it. It's like this deep lore, wildly descriptive, detailed world. And that's what I'm all about. And the game is part of that. And it's such a beautiful thing. So that was 5 years ago that we started that. So we've been doing the stream.
That's insane. For one story,
yeah, this is just our season 1.
Yeah, which you guys have, like, it's winding down, right? You're coming to the big,
yeah. It's gonna be wrapping up in March when we go to season 2, which is wild. But yeah, that was how I was introduced to podcasting and then streaming from that. And since then, I started my own Shakespeare podcast, which we've seen a little bit about in chat. Stealth King loves it. But yeah, so I started doing that and I was streaming some once lockdown hit with my Shakespeare group. We would get together once a week and read a play, just roll the dice for who gets to read which part. And I was kind of, I did a little bit more streaming through that and here we are. It's been such a beautiful way to connect with the world when the world doesn't want to be connected with physically. Yeah. So
yes. No, I think I have definitely relied on this community a lot since lockdown happened because, everybody is at home and going through all of this stress. And yet I have all of these amazing creators who are also in the same boat and we are bouncing ideas off of each other because, we have not necessarily a lot more time, but we have a lot more pent up energy to do this stuff. So yeah. Oh, yay.
And shout out to FTH Beyond, who just rated us, which was a term that I didn't know what it meant until very recently, from their show. So thank you for sending everyone over. We are the Ladies of ADD. I guess it would be laddies.
It would be laddies, which I feel weird saying when Kilted is in chat. I feel like I'm like, no, let's not tap me for my accent work.
No. It's also same. No. But yeah, this is In Addition, and we are Steph and Swan.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I guess talking about lockdown and this year and the dumpster fire that it has been, do you want to jump into our first actual topic for today?
I think we should. I think that's great. So first topic for today coming in as what motivates you? And this one I think is interesting again, because obviously we're coming to this topic in 2021, where we've now been through, we're coming up in 3 months on a year of pandemic and being at home. And that's a long time to stay motivated.
Yes.
A really long time. And I think So I'll say my first answer to this is fear of failure. That's going to be, that ranks number one as far as what motivates me is absolute just fear of most things. But going into what we were kind of talking about before, that this community of creators motivates me. They are putting out stuff, and like with you, Steph, and your amazing podcast, which we've talked about, that I don't understand a whole lot of, but it's awesome. And I love how, even if I don't know what you're talking about specifically, the excitement that you and your guest have on the Protest Too Much podcast, like, that's fun. I was like, I don't even know what's going to happen, but I like it. And so seeing friends of mine launch new projects, or even trying out different projects of my own and getting feedback from my friends or from people who are willing to take a shot and create something while we have this time is an incredible motivator. And then honestly, I'm going to get real sappy, but everybody in chat, like, you guys actually support us. You show up for these streams. You talk to us in chat. You send us messages. You make us feel like the content that we're putting out there, like, matters to you and actually resounds with you. And that's awesome.
Yeah, and I do want to pull out Stealth King in chat says that his family motivates him, especially his daughter. And this is the sweetest thing. He's going to build her a toy box in the game room so that he can start organizing that room to be a better streamer. Aww. And that is so sweet. And just it really kind of highlights the fact that this is everyone can be involved in this, you know, whether it's just like your kids sitting playing with their toys while you're streaming. It's a family event. And or if they're watching, like, my mom listens to my podcast and she listens to Adventure Incorporated too. She's like, I don't understand what's happening. And you guys swear a lot, but I'll keep listening. And yeah, having people that listen and show up, like you said, it's really cool to just make that a bigger family than maybe you had when this started.
Absolutely. And it's neat because I feel like we managed to have so many of us who are all working in this same world, but we're not really overlapping that much. Like, there is so much incredible different content coming out of all of these amazing people. And I mean, I'm going to call out Bean because he's literally set up a stream where he's working on his forge and metalworking on stream. Like, that's incredible. And I am so happy. Like, I couldn't be happier. So if you want to check that out, it's Forging Winton over at twitch.tv/Forging Winton. So
this is just a hype show. We're just going to drop all over.
But I think, and again, I think that's part of this and part of the motivation for In Addition, in that, you know, it wasn't just to have our own platform for us to talk, but to also really actually hype up what the ADD boys are doing, because it's fun. I mean, it's a dumpster fire every Wednesday, but it's a fun dumpster fire. I mean, you've got your like gigantic like Slurpee cup that you're just sitting there and watching it burn, but it's sure entertaining.
Mm-hmm. And yes, future skeleton, I do mean twitch.tv/Forging Winton. I still can't read I just read it as future X skeleton, and I know it's meant to be future breaking the word skeleton, but yeah, y'all, future skeleton, because there's a skeleton inside you, and if you're anything like He Who Is Steve, it's coming on the outside of you.
Oh. Okay. This is good to know. You're blowing my mind right now.
Oh, let's not clip that. Yeah. Now that we're done pondering the existential meaning of death and decay, yes, you did, VO by Kurt. You did hear what you thought you heard, but life is fleeting, and so are streams. It'll never happen again. What motivates me is kind of similar to you, Emily. Fear of failure, fear of disappointing all of the people around me, which is wild because I know that I won't, right? Like, I know that they're going to be proud of me, regardless of what I'm doing, but I come from such a competitive upbringing that I just am afraid of letting people down. I'm afraid of letting myself down, and I have no real basis of like what that means. Like, what is failure in what I'm doing? If one person listens to my show every week, that's better than no one, right? And Mike is really good about putting it in terms of if you have 50 people listening to your show every week, picture that in like a theater. If you had 50 people show up to a show every week, you'd be out of your mind. I was like, yeah, yeah, I would be. And so like kind of like trying to, what I'm working on this year is trying to restructure what success looks like versus what failure looks like, and how I can like better motivate myself to to not hold myself to that like really high impossible standard. Honestly, He Who Is Steve, I didn't, but like I wouldn't put it past me. If the comment is Steph had to kill her siblings in the womb, very competitive. And like, I mean, I was a really skilled baby. Like,
okay, can we clip that? Because that I want.
I would take things apart and put them together 90%. So all of the screws were like kind of in. So it looked like it was together. But then when you went to touch it, it would fall apart on you. So like,
that's diabolical.
I mean, I'm a middle child.
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay.
So shout out to middle children lefties out there. Y'all are the true heroes. And thanks, Stealth King. I know you'll always be listening and supporting, and that's really cool. And again, like Emily said, that's part of the reason we do this, is because, y'all are great, and it's fun to feel like we have reached people in the world that we didn't know. And that blows my mind too. Like, we don't know people.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. If I put on a Shakespeare show, and I look out in the audience, chances are I know everybody that's there. Like someone who's going to buy a ticket to a community theater Shakespeare show or show up to a park, they're going to be friends or family or people that I've like actually met and interacted with. The internet makes this so much broader and so much easier to access that it's like strangers from all over the place. And that's awesome. That's definitely a motivator when looking at like, why are we doing this and how do we keep pushing forward? It's that, if one thing we say makes someone chuckle or someone nod or like, yeah, I've been there, it makes the world a little smaller and a little less alone.
Absolutely. I think that's really well said. And it's tough sometimes because this can be demanding, and we can be kind of what Steph was saying. It can be really hard on ourselves. We talked about it earlier that I am not great at updating social media and doing all of that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not actually creating things behind the scenes, but to then take that next step to put it out there and actually let you guys know what we're doing, like that could be really daunting and really challenging sometimes. And I felt a ton of guilt related to my Patreon because I had people who had signed up and were supporting me, and I missed a few weeks where I wasn't posting stuff, and I felt awful, and it kept building and it kept getting longer, and I kept feeling more awful. And I was like, I can't do this. These people have supported me. They're patrons of mine, and I'm not giving them anything that I promised. And it was so heartbreaking. And literally then as soon as I posted stuff or sent messages to people, they're like, yeah, it's fine. We saw your stuff on other things. Like, we were cool. And while I certainly don't want to ever use that as an excuse to not put stuff out there, it was nice that it was really just me holding myself to that ridiculous standard and giving myself a hard time, that the majority of the people were fine. They were really fine with it.
And like Tony says, he's going through that same thing right now. The world is in chaos and things are hard. And, grace is something that I think a lot of people are giving more freely with these things, and holding yourselves to those standards and then trying to adjust those standards based on what's realistic and healthy for you is important. And I'm going to tell you that all day long. You try to make me listen to it, No, thank you, ma'am.
Well, and I love the statement, and this relates to a whole bunch of different things, but the idea that, the psychological thing where if I would take the words that I'm saying to myself inside my head, would you ever say that to one of your friends? And I was like, God, no, I would never be that mean to one of my friends. I would never say the terrible things. And so like the next step to that is, then why do you say it to yourself? And I was like, well, that's just poppycock. I don't understand. You must be crazy. So it's a process.
It's a process.
It's a process. And I think grace is the perfect word. I think learning how to navigate all of this first pandemic for me, my first go at this.
My first pandemic set, like a little, like my first.
Yeah.
Cupcake.
Oh, I thought we should get like the little baby books where it's my first pandemic. We've got like our little, like our handprint at the beginning. And then like, here's the first week when I started doing takeout and I made bread. And like, here's month 6 where it got real dark.
Y'all, I'm so good at bread. I am so good at making bread. For me, not a patient person, that's a big deal.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I've learned in 2020 is that if you ignore something for 3 hours, it can turn into something nice.
I like that.
Also, M&Ms.
Oh, yeah.
Huge motivator. If I'm grading essays, I'll be like, I can eat one M&M after every essay I grade. And then, 120 M&Ms later.
I feel really good and full. I'm like, I don't need dinner now.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Yes, I do like that. Kilted said, say nice things to yourself, but horrible to your friends. Solves both problems. You feel better and nobody bothers you. So I like it.
I kind of love that.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's awesome. I'm just make sure. Yeah. So I think in official ADD fashion, since this was the topic that I brought, I think it's my turn tonight to show the love. I like that. I like that idea that they do. So as I'm poking things and doing stuff. So I would like to show the love to the almost daily discourse. You guys might have seen that company, but what? So I know we rag on them and we give them the appropriate amount of crap that they absolutely deserve, but these guys are doing really cool stuff and they are consistently having 4 pretty decent conversations every Wednesday night over at twitch.tv/almostdailypod. Like, that's a lot of talking, you guys. Like, a lot of talking. And they do it. And they do it every week. And that's rad. And like I said, I can't say enough for the chat that is available there. Not only do they do a great job of interacting with the chat, but they take suggestions, you guys. They get topics from you guys. There's an incredible Discord community and just overall community around it that is rad. So yeah, so my show to love is to ADD. So follow them all over the place. If you want to download their podcast, anchor.fm/almostdailypod. I think I should have checked that. Mm-hmm. Just check Almost Daily Pod. It's all over the place. If you want to follow me, I am a swan named Emily across the internet. Like I said, I've got 2 Twitch streams coming up this week, one on Wednesday afternoon at 4:30, running right up until 7:30 so that I do not interfere with the Twitch stream of Almost Daily Discourse. And then again for my normal stream on Friday. So you can get more of me and follow me anywhere across the internet. I'm obnoxious about posting usually about 10 minutes before I go live to give you lots of plan so you know that I'm going live. So awesome. Hey, thanks. First episode done.
Heck yeah, we did it.
We did it. Yay. Oh,
so if y'all want to stick around, we're going to take a quick break and then we will be back with a new episode.
Yeah.
I guess we'll keep talking because that's what happens. Yay. Yeah. What's up, Jenna?
Hello.
Yeah, gosh, guys, that's exhausting, huh? You do that 4 times? You do this four whole times?
That's a lot.
It is different when you're listening.
Yes.
Mostly because I'm always doing something else. Like I'm always editing or as Tony says, it's why we doze off at the end.
Oh, jump. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Well, and I realize too, when I'm in chat, I have more time for my brain to engage. But now I gotta really be on it.
Right? Thanks, Elle Hanley. Thanks for being here. You're obviously one of the reasons that we're doing this. Just because of the discourse that happens in the chat over there, and it's nice to have friends. It sounds so pathetic. I'm like, oh, I love the internet because it's my friends.
Yeah. No, it's funny because there's definitely times recently where I'm much more excited to maybe like get in and chat in Discord or interact with you guys. And I was like, they're not local friends. Like, they're not people you could actually like go and socially distance see. Like, but I was like, but I'm so excited to talk to them. I want to share all the things with them.
Yep. Agreed. Bean, what are you writing a one-shot for? Is it a D&D? Is it a dungeon and a dragon?
A singular dungeon with a singular dragon.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky if we get either a dungeon or a dragon on our show ever. I don't think Anthony's ever let us go into a dungeon.
Seriously?
I mean, he likes to pretend that caves count.
Caves are not dungeons, Anthony.
Caves are not dungeons. There was a basement. That's it. That's all I got. No dungeons.
Yes. Once we are all safe, big ass party.
Oh yeah.
Here for it. Ooh, let's see. D&D for the botched community nights. D&D nights. Yeah. Shit. Yeah. I see that Discord's super active. I don't read any of it because my brain can't handle it, but it looks amazing.
We were just talking about that. We were like, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of well, and especially with Discord, like once you're in more than one, it's like, oh no, how do I prioritize my Discord so that I can see everything and stay on top of it all?
Yeah, I will 100% admit I was not prepared for the botched Discord. No, as a complete like botched new or like Discord noob, I'm like, oh god. Oh god. Oh my god, there's so many channels. There's so much happening.
So much happening.
So much happening. And I still miss a lot of it. So yeah, just a shout out. If you ever actually want to contact me in one of those, you have to tag me directly because I don't keep up. You guys are insane. And I don't keep up. But yeah.
And I think you're right. DragonCon is gonna be wild this year. I'm really, counting on everything being good and safe and ready to party. And boy, are we gonna party! Like I've got my party shoes set. They're in the closet and they are ready to come out.
Yeah, and I've really been working on my alcohol consumption, prepping for all of this. So like, I am ready for the botched house drinking. I'm ready.
That's what 2020 has gotten everyone ready for. It's like been a marathon training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kilted, that would be awesome if you came over.
That would be incredible. Yeah.
Super rad. And yeah, last year was Swan. Last year was your first year too, right?
2019 was my first year. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It is. It was.
Didn't know what to expect. Holy cow.
Holy cow.
Holy cow. Holy butts, as I say on my Twitch stream. Yeah. I don't think I went to bed before like 4 a.m. any of the days. And like time was optional. It was, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think you're right though. Like last year, like 2020 didn't just happen. It feels like last year. Like it feels like 2019 was last year, but it also feels like 1980 was 20 years ago. So
it was, wasn't it? Right? We're still in our 20s. It's fine. It's all fine, guys. Yeah. It's really great when your students are like, oh, so Miss Emily, I want to do this period piece. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. What time period are you thinking? The 90s. Cool. Miss Emily, why are you crying? It's fine. It's fine. Oh, fine. That sounds great. Tell me more. It's like,
Why are you crying into your 2 VHS set of Titanic?
it's just there's so much.
Oh,
Oh, it's fine. It's all fine.
it's fine.
It's fine.
You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do another episode.
You ready to party?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
2019.
Should I clap again for Charles?
Yes.
Fuck you, Charles.
Hello and welcome to, in addition, the sister podcast to Almost Daily Discourse. We are Swan and Stephanie, and we are streaming the first and third Mondays of each month on twitch.tv/almostdailypod. And you can find Almost Daily Discourse, the show that we are absolutely stealing, on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch at the same place. So welcome. This is, if you heard last week's, I guess we're going to release these weekly as episodes. So we won't be daily. We will be almost weekly, or I guess every weekly. But that doesn't have as good of a ring to it. So last week's episode was kind of our first our first go, and we told you a little bit about ourselves, what we do, what we're here for. And this week we're coming at you with kind of more of a straightforward ADD style topic. So if you like what you hear, if you want to be a part of it, you can join us live on Twitch, and then you can actually be part of the conversation. So I want to talk about my favorite musical of all time. High School Musical. That's not my favorite musical of all time.
It would crack me up if it was, considering how much you like musicals. If you're like, but no, deep inside, it's this one.
It really is a piece of cinematic art.
It's insane.
It's wild.
Like, so I didn't watch this as a high schooler or even as a college student. I watched this as an adult, and I'm just like, I don't know, but I can't look away. What's another one? Okay.
Right? Jenna Chill says, no, ma'am. Tony P says, you just lost all credibility. So I am doing a good job, I think. I haven't told everyone how much I love Cats yet. Cats, the musical, the 2019 movie, to be specific. But we're going to talk about High School Musical, or I guess school musicals in general, the drama and how it kind of shaped our approach to living creatively as adults. Because if you've done school theater, it is a world of its own.
Yeah.
It has a life of its own. It has a feel of its own. And I know every school and every high school and college is different with the way that they run things. But I still feel like there's a general vibe of that, like, you know, sweaty 2 a.m. Uno's parking lot that is resonant with all theater, all school theater.
Yeah.
So Emily, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience with school theater and kind of when you started, what your involvement was?
Absolutely. So mine is very much confined to middle school and high school. That was really where I did the most of the theater, we'll say acting and participation that I was in. And it's always funny to me because while I've always enjoyed singing, even though I'm not good at it, and enjoy acting, because of where our town split and we had two different high schools, one high school got all of the dancers that I went to dance the art center with, and then the other school had me. So I did a lot of dancing in musicals because I was the only one who could, which broke my heart a little bit. And now it's funny because the two schools are actually combined and the musicals are phenomenal. I was like, yeah, that would have been amazing. I would have loved to have done musicals with all of my friends. But it was really fun. So even though I was never a specific named character in anything notable, I still had a blast. I mean, that's not completely true. I was the fishmonger in Brigadoon, so we talk about like high level characters.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun, and it is exactly what you said. Like each individual, I feel like clique in high school had their own thing, but boy, the musical clique was something very specific of its own. And it was unlike any, like, it wasn't like the sports kids that I hung out with. It definitely wasn't like a lot of the art kids I hung out with. And it was just this own thing. But there's an insane energy that musicals and that type of performance tap into, which is why you end up for us, it was Denny's at 2:00 in the morning, still singing our hearts out, even though we had 2 shows the next day, because you were just so amped, because that type of creation and creativity just feeds you. Also high school, where you could eat crap and still have energy all the time. But a lot of it, like, I still think a lot of that, like, it came from the comrades I was in with and the other people, and just that type of performance energy that I haven't really found in other places.
So, Future Skeleton's comment was that he was in the theater club and hated the musical kids. Did you all have like a split? Did you have a theater club and a musical, or was it all kind of?
No. There were 200 people in my graduating class, so about 200 per year. So we had about 1,000 students in our school. Yet no, we would have a fall production that was just a regular play, and then in the spring we would have the musical, and that was the extent of it. But I'm gonna say we had a handful of about like 15 to 20 really good kids who were really enthusiastic about it, so we had shows with them twice a year, and then anybody else who might have gotten lost and found their way into it or needed an extra credit. So
Sure.
No, we were all in the same boat together, or even we're all in this together.
Yeah, we are all in this together. Once you know who we are, we're all stars, and you'll feel it. I don't know any of the actual words to these songs.
No, I know that, and that they do this weird like motion, and that's the extent of it. Yeah.
Oh, there's another clap for Charles.
Don't cut it there, Charles. We've got more to say. Also, you didn't hear Mike, so you know it's not real.
Yeah. But yeah, like what Jenna said, the energy we had at 3:00 in the morning after a show, I'm like ready for bed now. And we've been doing this for less than an hour. And I'm like, I'm old now. How much would I give for that? Like, just absolute energy. It was its own sort of magic, right? Like its own just buzz. And you got this, just surge of life. You had an audience and you were a star for those, 2 hours or however long your show desperately was. So I never did high school theater. Well, I never did high school musicals. I took a theater class, and I got a role in the first play I auditioned for in class that went to our like Drama Fest competition, because our theater teacher's son was in my class and thought I was pretty and wanted to date me.
Yeah.
That's why I got cast. I did not want to date him. But I did fall in love with theater, so I guess thank you. But we had an amazing theater teacher. She was just totally bananas and so in love with everything about the art, and like you couldn't not want to be part of that, because I didn't have time for anything. I was skating. I was leaving school early and getting to school late, and I was like, so I couldn't do any like the musicals. I couldn't be part of like the club. But even just getting that taste of what theater was like and what the class was like and what the people were like, I was like, yeah, I want people to watch me. Yeah, I like this. I like being the center of attention here. But it was really college that I got super into musicals and musical theater. Could not sing for a lick of spit, if that's a saying. If it's not, it should be.
It is now. Canon now.
But I had a lot of spunk. I had a lot of heart, and I had a lot of spite as well. So that brings me to my next question. What was the most drama llama ding dong thing to happen in your school theater program?
So I remember it vividly because high school's only a couple years ago, so it's still fresh in my mind. These are lies. These are lies. So it was the senior year musical, and there was an incredible girl who had the most gorgeous voice. Like, and again, I love to sing and frequently have people. Yes, spite is an incredibly powerful motivator. I was gonna say, well, we talked about it in our last segment with what motivates you, but I think we didn't spend enough time on spite.
It's true.
But yeah, so there's this girl. She had an incredible voice, and the musical we were doing was The Sound of Music, and literally everyone, even the people who weren't in the theater department, weren't connected to it, just knew like, oh yeah, it's gonna be this girl because she's got the voice and it's literally The Sound of Music. Why wouldn't you cast her for that? And she didn't get cast.
Tell me everything. What?
So
did your teachers hate her? Like, was she smoking in the parking lot? Like, what happened? She
was a good kid. I was like, that's what I don't get. So I still don't know, like, what if it was just she botched the audition or she didn't, like, if there was something where maybe she didn't want it, but I couldn't believe it. And the girl, now, nothing against the girl who got the main role. She did a very good job, but I can't imagine going into that performance being like, wow, literally everybody wanted somebody else to be singing this and doing this part. And I am positive that that tension carried over into this show. It was the most disjointed, discordant show.
No.
It was a disaster. Like, it was hinky and it didn't have the right pace, and oh my gosh. And
was the girl in it at all? Like the girl that you expected?
Other nuns, and she had what? Like, I think one of the sisters that has like one song.
Just a rando nun? Not even the Mother Abbess? Not even the every mountain bitch?
Nope. She was just like side nun number 2.
I feel like I need details. Like, I need to. Okay. I have questions. I also have a question for VO by Kurt, because he says he was singing in the barbershop quartet in The Music Man, and 3 weeks before opening night, our drama teacher fired one of the other members of the barbershop quartet without replacing him.
Oh my gosh.
So it was like,
so did you just go as 3?
Was it a barbershop trio? Like, oh, say this word. Whatever the word is in The Music Man. I don't love that musical. You say this word. Whatever the Music Man musical says. You say this word. Whatever the Music Man musical says. Now you say it. And then there's just like dead air.
There were only 75 trombones that night.
Well, because you know that, like, underpaid band director who's got his student orchestra isn't going to cut, 3 bars of music just for just dead air. Oh, ice cream. That's what it is. Thank you, Kurt.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's mortifying.
That is mortifying. I also need to hear the drama that happened there. Because I also, when I taught high school in Massachusetts, I co-chaired the drama club with another teacher, and it was some of the most fun I've ever had. The other teacher was just brilliant and amazing and ran this club, like a tight ship. And getting to see those kids live through those magical experiences of their youth was just, it filled my whole heart. But also, like, we would post the cast lists and then like hide around the corner and watch them. And there is no greater joy for an adult than that level of like, what are they going to do? Because, you obviously have your tears, you have your screaming, you have your like happy screaming and mad screaming. Yeah. It's a tough act to balance, but so the teacher in me needs to know, like, why? Because I know we had some of those years where everyone expected this one kid to get this one role, but like they weren't keeping up academically. They were too big for their britches and they're like, the ego department.
Yeah.
And like, that's a lot of, because high school musicals are such a community thing and such a our goal was always to not make it, and that's kind of something that I've carried with me for directing as well, not make it just about the leads, but really make every person in the show feel important, because when you're in high school, that's really what you need. Like, you need to feel important and valued and like you have a place somewhere.
It is, and it makes such a difference. So I still, anytime I have the opportunity, I try and go back and see the musicals at the high school because they're fun. And honest to God, the kids do a great job. But the shows that are more fun are the ones where obviously, if you've got strong leads, that's great. But it's all the support characters. It's the little one-liners. It's the backup scene people who are adding to it and doing, even if they're not actually having speaking lines, but they're there and they're present. And of course, for me, it's always going to be the dancing. Like, if you have kids who are engaged, even if they're not good dancers, don't care, it makes the show that much more fun. And like you said, like, the ego of the main leads, honestly, sometimes that detracts from the show. Like, you should be doing it because you love it, not because you think you're hot shit.
Right. Well, and I honestly think that sometimes going to see middle school musicals or going to see elementary school musicals, like, there's nothing better than that. Looking at those kids who are just living their best dang lives. Like, they could not be more in those moments. Or like you said, like the one lines, like there's a compilation video online of the Courtney Take Your Break girl in Legally Blonde. And it's just that, like, Courtney, take your break, and then like the one line she sings after that or whatever, and you see these kids who are just like, Courtney, take your break. Like, they're just like, that is their line, and that is their whole life and their whole moment, and it's just like, it's so heartwarming. And yeah, sometimes you get like Kurt says, you see that one kid who you're like, oh my God, you're very special, and you don't even maybe know it yet, but whoa.
Yeah. No, I think that's incredible, especially in high school. And obviously I didn't have any theater opportunities in college, but what I have continued to do throughout the time is I have been a part of story ballets through the art center where I dance and where I teach. And that's really fun because, one, I mean, it's dancing, which I absolutely adore. I'm not good at ballet, but I try. And luckily the director likes me and has known me since I was little. And so she's like, here, this part is a lot of jazz or a lot of swing and no ballet. And I'm like, good call. Best for the show. But I like it because I get to have the acting part of that. And the memorizing the dance moves makes a lot more sense to me than, we'll say, memorizing lines, because I don't have as much practice with that. So I get to bring the emotion and the facial expressions to all of that, which is the fun part of acting for me, and then getting to dance while I do it. So the most recent one we had right before shutdown is we did Cinderella, and I got to be one of the wicked stepsisters. And I cannot tell you how much fun I had. And it was so good. And the girl I was stepsisters with is the girl that I teach swing dance with. And so, like, we just had so much fun, and we played off of each other. I think we scared the poor high schooler who was Cinderella, but which worked out perfectly. I'm like, you see that fear? That fear was real. So, but it was so much fun. And I love having, obviously, like you said, it's wonderful to have people come up and talk to you afterwards and praise you, because that feels good, because praise feels good. But it's nice knowing that,
how good I am.
Yeah. I certainly don't have the best technique, and I will never have the best technique, and that's fine. I've accepted that. But it's nice to know that they still really enjoyed my performance because of the character that I brought to it. And like that carries me through. And I think I've gotten to then play a lot of really fun characters because of that. Not necessarily, again, not on my dancing merit alone. I mean, I've been there a while, but not because of that, but because of the, like, oh, we need you to fall on the ground and be ridiculous. I'm like, I can do that.
I can do that. So yeah, JD Smith, we are talking about school musicals, high school musicals, and kind of how they built us as people. And we talked about Spite a little bit earlier. We talked about some of the gritty drama. I met Mike in college musical theater. That was kind of what I threw myself into in college, and I went full speed ahead, totally dove in. Started as a freshman. We had an all student run company, I guess, which has its
cool.
own challenges. Yeah, it's cool. It's when we address Spite specifically, our senior musical. So like we had, you could propose a musical and then the executive board voted on it and got chosen, whatever. So for my senior year, the spring musical that got chosen was Little Shop of Horrors. Ooh. And the day we were all, in the meeting room, everyone was so excited, ready to hear it. It gets announced, and the girl who proposed it and is the director and is also my friend comes up to me just sobbing. She is in only the way that high school and college theater kids can do, very dramatically. And she said, "I just feel so bad because it's your senior year and there's no part for you in this show."
Oh my God.
So I was like, and like I said before, I was not a singer. My best skill was in dance because I had dance training for skating, and I could act, but I wasn't really a singer. But like that was enough for me to be like, no, I'm sorry, you're wrong. So like I busted my butt over winter break. I like practiced every day, and I do not practice. This girl does something good on the first try or doesn't ever do it again. And so I practiced and I like met up with a friend who could sing, and I practiced with him, and I went to the audition and I got Audrey because swear words. That's why.
That's freaking dope though.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love
and
that.
You know what? Audrey is like a perfect part for my voice. And where I am 10 years later, 12 years later, is so much better and stronger than when I was then. Like I was not perfect, but it was something that I never would have known like fit in my voice if I hadn't practiced and been so mad that she just flat out. And I mean, like in any school theater production, she added ensemble parts and stuff. I'm like, I'm not even good enough for that. Like, you don't think I could be just like shopper number 3? Like, hello, what is this plant? Like, you don't think I can say, hello, what is this plant that you have here? This very interesting plant? You don't think I can't do that? So yeah. And so we had like a double cast show, and Mike was the dentist in the opposite cast. So that's how we got to be friends. And it's such a, like we said before, it's such like a different, unique vibe of a group. And that has really kind of carried me into the good and the bad has carried me into my creative process as an adult, because I don't ever want somebody to feel like I felt. Like I don't ever want somebody to feel like there's no place for them. And that's in my teaching. Like when I teach, when I direct, whatever I do, like, and I work almost exclusively with Shakespeare, and it's not for everyone that they think. Like not everyone thinks that like Shakespeare is for them, but I'm like, no, like give it a shot. Let's break it down. Let's, talk through this. But I don't ever want anyone to feel like that there's not a place for them. And I think that school theater is really what built that part of me. And as we're talking about theater, JD Smith, this is primarily so this is In Addition, and we are the sister show of Almost Daily Discourse, which streams on Wednesday nights, and their tagline is a podcast for pondering. It's basically we bring a couple topics each night, and like Mike says, it's a mixed bag talk show. Every week we've got different topics. If y'all want to hear us talk about something, shoot us an email or a social media message. At what's our email, Emily?
It's inadditionpod@gmail.com.
Heck yeah, it is. So yeah, we talk about all sorts of things. Today just kind of happened to be where we came from and how our creative lives were shaped, and that was kind of for both of us. School theater was a big part of that. So that's where we're digging in today. Swan, do you see anything like from those theater experiences that you take to your art or you take to your work that you can like directly look back on that?
So I think it's fascinating because performance makes sense to me. Public speaking does not. And I realize that that's kind of contradictory, but there's something about that ability to express yourself either through dance or through acting, whether you're speaking or not, that absolutely works itself into not only how I teach dance, but how I actually dance, and even how I work on art. And I mean, my students can attest to the fact that not only do I gesticulate wildly frequently, but like I like the classes that I get to teach in art are cartooning and anime, and literally everything about that is exaggeration and expression. And being able to be willing and be open with yourself to do that. And like what we used to have to do in college is we used to have to actually act out the scenes and the movements that we were going to animate. We would have to time them. We'd have to video them. We would have to like break this down. And if you are uncomfortable doing that, it made it harder to then create that art. And that was an interesting, for I think, a topic that can be a subject that can be so independent, or you working on your own, or, you know, tucked away at your art studio at your table. This is now something where you have to blend your ability to act along with. And that part of it was fascinating to me. And I'm very grateful for, you know, all of those requirements of middle school and high school, where if you're going to be a part of the play, you have to be able to do this. And even though like every inner bit of me is mortified, and we
Get
are
around and act like a worm.
I'm like, I don't want it. They're gonna laugh at me, and I'm gonna be worm girl for the rest of my life. And no. Yeah,
That's really cool. I never thought about like the animation. I mean, I know obviously it comes from actual movement, but like having to, that takes a lot of guts.
It does. And it takes, like, we would have to almost get up, and there were times where we had to memorize different like dialogues to do to each other, but in school, but we also had to do almost like a whose line is it anyways. And it was working on our improv, because as much as I was shocked, like that really does have a hand in timing and the timing of your animation. And it was one of those where I was like, again, I'm lucky because I feel like I lucked and tripped and stumbled and fell into shit making sense, and that's cool. But I was grateful that I had some of that acting and musical background, because I was like, okay, even though I'm not super comfortable, I at least have an idea of how to do this. So yeah, it's interesting. And again, I think it's all of those subtle ways that they are getting in your brain that then start to pay off later. And now that I'm an adult, I can look back and I was like, oh shit, that's cool. And again, thank my teachers for being like, oh, thanks for making me do that 12 years later. That's dope.
And, you know, as a teacher, that's really all we can hope for, is that someone a decade later will say, hey, that was dope.
Yeah, I had one time where a student came back to me. She's like, you know that thing we worked on like 5 years ago? I was like, yeah, it's the technique that I teach and everything. She's like, I totally get it now. I use it all the time. And I'm just like, vindication. I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm happy. I can retire. I can be done. I got the one.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, when it came to like Audrey, was that the big role that was the big thing for you? Or were there other ones that really hit with you, and those were the ones that you would absolutely like in a heartbeat play again?
Oh, so it was the big thing then because I was mad about it. But looking back, I would absolutely love to play Audrey again, because I think that, I mean, it's a show that I think so Mike and I have very different opinions on that show, and so did the two casts, because if you play Little Shop of Horrors the way it's meant to be, it is a farce. It's over exaggerated, it's animated, it's over the top. But like, we had, it will surprise nobody that our assistant director was Anthony Reed, and he was in charge of our cast, and so it became a very dark and gritty Little Shop of Horrors, because it is a bad, like, it is a rough, it's rough. It's hopeless and bad. Thank you, Kurt, spoiling The Plant Wins. but we like played it like kind of like real gritty. And like I was dating the dentist in my cast at that time, and my dad was like, "I do not want you dating him ever again." And I was like, "I don't want to be dating him ever again either. It's fine, Dad." Kurt, I still put spoiler tags on Shakespeare. So, add a 0 to that 400. I'm just super into fake dentists. You're right. Not the real ones though. Don't make me go. But yeah, so I would love to play Audrey again because I think there's like a lived experience that I have now, that like you can always add to stuff you've played. Beatrice in Much Ado About Nothing, I've played twice and would play every day of my life. You know, like if that was the one show that I got to play forever, I would be happy with it. There are some others that have stood out as well. Godspell was a really special experience for me. And I always say that Godspell is a show you have to be in. It's not a great show to watch.
It's catchy though. I mean, whether you want it to be or not, those songs are really catchy. But I feel like I put that one on the same one as Pippin. Like, Pippin is a strange watch. But like, again, the songs are catchy. And I imagine like being in it is really fun because it's friggin' bonkers. But as an audience member, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Kurt agrees with me. Godspell is one of his favorite musicals to be in. Oh, favorite musical. Hard stop favorite. Yeah, there's a special, especially when it's done with just 10 people. There's a special, like, again, it's that whole experience that you can't ever recapture. And then you have another experience that's impossible to recapture. And I think chasing those experiences is something that as an adult I probably won't stop doing. I'm probably going to keep trying to chase those like one shot, this is that, it lives in this moment, it lives in this weekend, and then it's over and done. Yeah. And then moving on to the next one.
Well, and I think, at least for me, I know part of that, obviously I still do get to perform in the story ballets once a year usually, so that's fun, but it's kind of part of what I like about streaming and I like about different Twitch events. And especially like when we did Digital Dragon Con this year, like, again, that was a one-time thing. Like you and I got to be on a panel together, which was something I was like over the moon about. And I knew, I was like, I mean, I'm terrified and I'm stressed going into it, but I had a blast and I loved that. And again, while we recreated something similar to it, it wasn't the same thing. It wasn't the same show. But I just, yeah, like that love. And I think, again, still going in different opportunities to get that kind of performance high.
Yeah. You know what else I love, Swan?
What do you love, Steph?
I love Almost Daily Discourse at Almost Daily Pod, streaming Wednesday nights on Twitch. I know we've said it a million times, and I promise we will cool it from here on out. We will stop it. Future Skeleton, we will stop. I promise. But we felt like to honor y'all and really thank you for giving us this experience. We wanted to push you out and push your show. We're pushing you out.
Bye.
It's a really wonderful space that me and Swan, just as two people, have felt really comfortable and really engaged in their live streams on Wednesday nights. And so if you are listening to this on your podcatcher of choice, you are probably already listening to them because we're in their feed. So you already know how great they are.
Inside the house.
Yeah, you got us as a surprise. But we love them and we are appreciative that they do their thing so that we are now doing ours. I am Stephanie at Kruggles all around the world and on the internet. I have a Shakespeare podcast called Protest Too Much and a Dungeons and Dragons podcast called Adventure Incorporated. You can tell that I don't like living in the real world and I love living in medieval fantasy land. That's me in a nutshell. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We love you.
Yay!
Goodbye.
That's just a different type of plague they were dealing with.
Right? Clap again so Charles knows it's over. Charles, it's over.
Charles, it's go. Charles, we're done. Ah, thank you, Kiltod.
Yeah, thanks, y'all.
This
Thanks
is
for
fun.
being here. They are weird, Tony. It's weird to just be like, okay, bye.
Okay. Bye.
But we're like
Bye
still
now.
talking.
Goodbye now. Like, I just want to go. I just want to end the call. I don't know what to do now.
End call for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you guys for being here. It was really special to see some familiar names and some new names in chat. I have made it awake. So, Tony, that's something I've got on you all the way through this show.
Oh, wait, I lost you for a second. What did you say?
Oh, I said that I made it awake all the way through a show, and that's something that I have on Tony.
Yes, you did.
I don't know if Tony's ever actually fallen asleep.
I feel like he's got that very zen where he is actually sleeping, but his eyes are still there, and he's just like, he's very calm. Like, yeah, no, I was awake. What are you guys talking about? Okay.
Tony, we love you. Mike, we love you. Charles and Phil can suck it.
Especially Charles.
We
Bring
love
out
you too.
Bear McFall. Bring out
Bear.
We want more Bear McFall.
We want more Bear McFall, please.
They're gonna rescind our credentials. They're gonna be like,
oh yeah, they're gonna be like, the password for StreamYard has changed. Oops.
Sorry.
So we will be back on what's the date of it?
The 18th.
We'll be back on January 18th live. But we will be pushing this out on the ADD podcast.
Like Saturdays. Like if you get them each day and they actually go into your podcatcher on a specific day, I think our day is Saturday. We'll see. Again, we'll see when that shakes out. But yeah, we've got the 2 episodes, so that should carry us through these next 2 Saturdays, and then that following Monday we'll be back here live, probably. Oh, we could raid botched. I think I know how to do that.
Do you? Okay, because I was going to ask how. It's a great idea.
Yes, I just have to make sure.
Can you raid from settings?
I think I have to raid it from. Where's the thing?
Maybe from Twitch.
Yeah, I think I just have to hit.
If we turn off, we love you all. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, if we just disappear, thank you.
Can't raid in StreamYard. But Swan, you know how to do it from Twitch?
Sure. Yeah. I did at one point. I did it before successfully. I just want to make sure. Where's my thing? Okay. Yeah. What is what I... All right. So let's see if this works.
Oh, because
raid another channel.
neither of us is logged in.
Oh, that's right, because we're logged in as our own. Okay, but hey, all right, so wait, let's do the. I got an idea. I got a backup plan. All right, everyone. Don't be super loud.
Oh, you can do it if you're a mod.
All right. But also, there, send it out to everything. So that is the Twitch channel. Go raid Botch Podcast. They're playing Mario Kart like maniacs tonight. So if you have got Mario Kart on your Switch, I'm pretty sure, go see if you can be a part of that. But yeah.
We're gonna do this, y'all.
Ooh. Yeah, you just do like /raid, but again, I'm logged into my Twitch from Swan, not from ADD. I don't know, I'm still fuzzy.
Did we do it? Will our stream end when it's rated out? No permission.
Okay.
No. All right. We're going to end our stream. We really encourage you all.
Go
Botched, we're sorry.
Yeah, /Botch Podcast. We'll work on that. We'll work on that for next time.
Oh. No. Oh.
So that's what you do normally in like Twitch. I just didn't know if that would work through StreamYard.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
Even as a mod, I don't have permission.
Oh, it yelled at me.
Oh, someone did it.
Did we?
Looks like it. Yay, we love you. Bye.
Bye.